Brett Dolan here with us on our Lewis Automotive Hotline. And where in the world is Brett Dolan 2 days before Arkansas opens in the College World Series?
Well, I'm in Northwest Arkansas, but I will be at Omaha Saturday night. And I don't know if I'll be able to stay for more than a game. I guess if the Hogs keep winning, I'll find my way back. But I can't pass up an opportunity to get back somewhat close to home and see Arkansas and LSU on Saturday night.
Yeah, how far did you grow up from Omaha?
About an hour and 20 straight east when you cross the river. So I would always equate that to Rosenblatt, but it isn't that much further from the new ballpark. So it's an easy drive, a lot of corn, a lot of cattle, but no stops.
So you've been before. I mean, you've been before as a fan. Was this a thing that Brett Dolan did growing up, go to the College World Series?
You know, I didn't as much as I wish, because we played high school baseball in the summer, so that was going on at the same time. I didn't have cable, which all the games were on ESPN, so I didn't follow it quite the way that I wish I would have. I went once and saw Pat Burrell homer at Old Rosenblatt when I was working with the Iowa Cubs, and we weren't playing, so we drove over to Omaha, but it wasn't a regular thing for me, and I kind of wish it would have been. I was at Rosenblatt a lot, just not for College World Series games.
Yeah, what was that ballpark like for minor league baseball? Because it was filled for college baseball, but we're talking AAA here. It's not like they were getting 25,000 people or 20,000 people all the time.
Well, that's the big thing. I mean, I would come back pretty much every year with the AAA team, and I would watch guys that had great memories of playing in Rosenblatt, and then the disappointment when they would walk in for a AAA game because it didn't have the juice, it didn't have the feel, and it was the same stadium, it just wasn't the same atmosphere. So it was always a little bit disappointing when guys came back and played a minor league game there because they had such incredible memories of when they had played in the World Series.
And now the AAA park is out in, I think, Sarpy County, right? I've been to a game there. It's the perfect size for them. And Omaha got to keep the College World Series and have a stadium that's got the perfect size for the stadium. It's just, Brett, they built it in the wrong direction, right?
Yeah, they did. I mean, it's downtown is nice, and the area is growing with hotels and restaurants. It just, probably didn't play for the first 7-8 years, if not longer, the way they wanted to, especially with the contrast of Omaha built on a hill, and it was such an offensive ballpark of Rosenblatt to the new one. And, they had to put some money in it, obviously. I mean, I thought Indianapolis at one time would be a great home for the College World Series, but they built a new stadium, and some things are great about it, and other things aren't necessarily perfect.
Chuck and Bo had Ryan McGee on this morning, and they had a great talk with him, and I love Ryan's perspective on really everything. I love how connected he feels to the College World Series, and he put it really perfectly. It's difficult to describe when you're there, but the fact that it's impossible now, you said Indianapolis would have been a good place for the College World Series. I remember when the debate was going through Omaha, and I wasn't even a college baseball guy then, about, well, are we going to build a new ballpark to host this? Of course you are, because you're not going to let that thing leave town. And I mean, the NCAA is about money, so they would have left, but Omaha's not going to let it happen. And it's that connection of city to event and event to city. The same idea as the Rose Bowl. I mean, this is like a granddaddy of them all, and you can't even imagine it leaving there. The vibe is difficult to describe, but you know it when you feel it there.
You do. And it's funny you bring up Ryan. I just finished his book, and he was talking about trying to get into minor league baseball. We started the same year. We were at the same winter meetings in Atlanta, and I've enjoyed his perspective as well on the College World Series. I will say at the time, building a 24,000 seat ballpark downtown for a 2-week event was a little bit unusual. And obviously they draw enough fans to make it worthwhile, but it felt a little bit odd because Creighton doesn't draw anybody. There are no other games really that are played there. But they wanted to keep this event there so badly because of that connection that they made it happen. And it has become synonymous with college baseball. I remember the first regional I called was in Eugene, Oregon, in 2013, and we walk into their facility, and there's this giant sign, X number of miles to Omaha, however many that may have been, 2,000 or 3,000 miles. It just has become truly synonymous with college baseball now, and it will be for, decades going forward.
I saw yesterday Creighton released renderings of a new ballpark for their softball facility. So they're going to move their baseball team out of Charles Schwab Field, I think, for the reasons you're saying. I've been there for an Arkansas Creighton game, and that was 10 years ago. They were.
I was trying to figure it out because I thought they said practice field, but it had too much money involved for that to not be a stadium where they could host some games.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it would be like what Duke did when they played a lot of games at the Durham Bulls Park, but then they went back to campus, even though it doesn't quite fit the same standards. But maybe there's something where they're going to play some in both. But it did catch my attention too.
The Big Ten and Big East have held their conference tournaments at the College World Series Stadium, but I also remember in 2020 they never got to do it because the series was canceled, obviously. But Major League Baseball scheduled a game, a regular season game. I think it was with the Royals and the Blue Jays, and it was supposed to take place the day before the College World Series started. And Brett, do you remember? They were going to hold the draft at the College World Series. And of course it didn't happen. And now they've moved the draft to the All-Star game a month ahead. And it just, to me, it felt like it was such a lost opportunity, and they've never done anything about trying to get the two sides back together, because if you could have a big league game there with the draft there, it's just, I loved when it felt like Major League Baseball and college baseball were inching towards each other. Now they're not, and it doesn't feel like they will.
No, but I think you're onto something. I mean, every year, if, say, the Royals and the Rockies or the Twins and Rockies played or something, just with a little bit of a regional area, I think you need to find ways to continue to utilize that stadium and bring baseball to different places. I mean, we played games in a cornfield in Iowa. We played them in an Army base in North Carolina and at Rickwood Field, so I don't know why they couldn't connect a big league game in some capacity with another event, whatever that may be.
Isn't there one coming up at a NASCAR track soon? Is it? I think it's
Bristol, yeah.
Short track in Bristol, right?
It's the Reds and Braves in August, and I've been thinking about going there. My media credential, my season-long one doesn't work, but my son was with the Bristol team last year, even though they weren't in Bristol, and I was at the All-Star game in Johnson City, which is 10 miles from the track, and I might find a way to get there because it'll be a unique experience, to say the least.
Yeah, the baseball players will look like little tiny ants on a field. It's like everybody will be in an upper deck seat.
Yeah, you won't have the best view, but it'll be more of an experience, to say the least.
All right, so Arkansas, LSU, and it's not just this game, too, because I think Arkansas is much more made, if they lose Saturday, to come out of the losers bracket than LSU is. It's not to put more importance for one team on this game than the other, but I don't think LSU is really built to make it through the losers bracket in the College World Series, the way that they did in their home regional. You're facing better teams. But I think the Razorbacks are built like that. Not to say that they'll lose on Saturday, because I actually think they're the better team.
Well, I can't disagree at all that Arkansas would be better suited to play multiple games if they had to win their side of the bracket. To me, it's still a little bit unfair. I understand not reseeding, but, of the top 7 national seeds, there's 2 remaining, and they're going head-to-head, and they're probably the 2 prohibitive favorites to win the College World Series, but it is the cards that they are dealt, so go forward. No, I think they're really suited well to play LSU. I mean, Cade Anderson, he does scare me a little bit, Phil. I mean, I've been looking at these projections over the last several weeks for the draft, mostly to keep tabs on where they have Vahiva and Gage Wood and others going. The last one I looked at had him number 2 overall, and they had him ahead of Doyle, and maybe that's changed in the last couple of weeks. So there's no doubt the kid has talent. Arkansas has seen him once before. But, the one thing always about playing LSU that concerns me a little bit, Phil, and it's not just the way they're coached or stylistically. Jay Johnson said something the other day to some media, and it's the same thing that he told me in a one-on-one conversation last year. He said when he puts his head to pillow at night, there's one team he's concerned about recruiting. We're recruiting the same guys out of high school and the same guys out of the portal, and it's Arkansas. And I told him, well, they're probably doing the same thing with you, but to me that means they're recruiting the same type caliber of athletes, pitchers and hitters. So even though stylistically they're different and coaching they're different, there's a lot of commonalities between these programs. 2 teams that expect to compete for national championships and recruit the very best players. And that's what will make, I think, Saturday's game so much fun because of the caliber of talent on that field.
If you want to get down to a granular level on why I think one team might be better than another, there is no hole in the Arkansas lineup. There's maybe 1 or 2 in the LSU lineup. They haven't had much production from third base at all this year. I mean, they've tried a couple of guys, and it's just not working. Now, they're getting They're getting guys who field the position at third base. But that you usually have to have somebody that can hit. I do think Arkansas is deeper in the pen, but that really doesn't have anything to do with one game. But we also know, Brett, they're not playing each other just once.
No, they're not. I mean, this is going to be a 2 or maybe a 3-game series around this 4-team bracket. And I think you're right. LSU's top-heavy. I mean, they have 2 elite starting pitchers. And then once you get into that bullpen, it changes, and that's where Arkansas's depth comes true. So whether it's Saturday or whether it's when they meet again, potentially, that's going to probably play out. And how Arkansas handles Ianson and Anderson will go a long ways towards deciding. And listen, Zach Root's been really good. We've enjoyed watching him throw in the postseason, in the Supers and Regional. And if he has a similar type performance or Gage looks like the Gage against Creighton, it would be hard to pick against Arkansas because we know that the depth of pitching talent and the depth of that lineup at some point should kind of tilt the game in Arkansas's favor or the multiple games.
BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. With baseball season in full swing, BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, scores, and even live in-game betting while the games are being played. We keep the dog days of summer rolling with the largest selection of odds on everything. With updated odds on the MLB, UFC, and boxing to tennis and NFL futures, BetOnline remains the best online source for all your sports wagering information. In between games, head over to the BetOnline Casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here.